Okay, second part of the video. I'm just going to go over the sheets that I have for kombucha. You need to make a 2-gallon, I bought these at Canadian Tire, these jars, 20 bucks each, so I bought 2 of them, and that makes 8 liters or 2 gallons each, which is what the recipe calls for. So you want to get containers this size, that way you're just dealing with the exact recipe, and it's going to make about 12 quarts, something like that, 10 or 12 quarts, give or take, I think 11. You also need 2.6 cups of refined sugar. You can't use beet sugar or sugar beet. The sugar that I use is just any kind of organic sugar. Bring it a little closer to you. So that's basically what I'm using. Any kind of, well, like I say, as long as you're not using beet sugar, you're fine. Then I bought black tea. Okay. I bought it in bulk. I didn't buy tea bags because they were more expensive. Then what I did was I bought these tea bags, loose leaf tea bags, and they look like this. They come out and they're about this size, and you can fit a fair bit of tea in one of them. Then I just take a toothpick and go across. I'm videotaping this kombucha thing, so you can be a part of it or not, it's up to you.
No, I'm good, sorry.
Okay, so this is what it looks like after it's been boiled. There's the toothpick inside there, you can probably see right here. And it holds the tea in. That's basically all the ingredients that I use. And all I do is put the tea in a bowl, spoon it in, so on and so forth. What else is there? So to make a 2-gallon batch, you need 8 cups filtered water. I have these half because I have a boiled pot here for the other half with the black tea in it. Sorry, lost my train of thought. 8 liters filtered water, so I'm doing 2 batches. For each one you need 8 liters of filtered water, right. This is 4 liters then. 2.6 cups refined sugar, 11 tea bags, so I used 11 teaspoons, and 1.3 cups of kombucha from your previous batch. So I have, again, 2 of these, 1 for each batch that I just throw in at the end. You want to make sure that your tea is not too hot because you don't want to cook the kombucha. If you cook the kombucha, it's not going to work. So directions are: add half the filtered water to the stock pot, cover, bring to a boil. You need filtered water. It doesn't have to be anything too special, but it needs to be filtered. Place the other half in the watering jar. Turn off the heat and pour sugar until dissolved. So you basically put your sugar in, it dissolves really quick when it's boiling, of course. And then you turn off the heat, pour in the sugar until it's dissolved. Add your tea bags and remove them after 10 minutes of boiling. When the tea has cooled significantly, pour into the gallon contains cold water. If the resulting mixture is room temperature, just slightly warmer, not bad, add the kombucha from a previous batch. Note that if water is too hot, it can kill the starter culture. Now place the SCOBY on top. Don't worry if it sinks, it will come back up on its own. Another thing that I use is, well, we'll get on with this, so we'll do this process here. I'll just clear this stuff out of the way so you can see. Tea bag, that over here. Sugar, beets, blah, 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 blah. Okay. This is all the excess SCOBY that I have. You don't normally get this much. You get about enough for an extra batch. And if you want to see it up close, sort of looks like liver. I'll put it right here. I can tear a piece even. it's going to look like. It's usually a lot thinner. And then the regular culture, this is basically what it is going to look like. Okay, it's got, sort of looks like liver, whatever, I don't know. And you can actually eat this, very healthy for you. Good luck though, pretty tough to eat. Not impossible. Can be done. Okay. Swallowing your stuff's the hard part. Kombucha breath. Okay, so let's get this going here. So I boiled the tea. The tea is cooled. I removed the tea bags. The sugar's added in here. I'm going to give it one final stir. I know there's no sugar in the bottom for sure. So all we do, and again, filtered water, filtered water. So I just simply take the pot. You also want the kombucha to be lukewarm, just for the fact of not cracking your glass jar either. Okay, good amount there. This one could use a little more, so I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Whatever you leave for the height of your lip here, there will be SCOBY on your next batch. I think I made a mistake there, but okay. Anyways, I'm going to just test it. It's actually cold, not even lukewarm, it's colder than that. So the next thing you do is you just take your SCOBY and drop it in. There's that one. And then there's that one. Awesome. Okay. You can see in the jars that the SCOBY here, this one's floating. Doesn't really matter what it does. Like I said, it sinks to the bottom generally. This one's not, so I don't know, whatever. But anyways, as 2 weeks progress, it raises to the top and starts making SCOBY for you, or the SCOBY starts to work. Fermenting process, so on and so forth. The next thing I do is it has to be stored in a cold, there we are, covered with a cloth. This is just to keep dust and bugs out, but it needs to be porous so air can get in and wrap a rubber band around to keep it on there. So all I do is I take, this is an old bed sheet, I just take it, I've washed it, rinsed it, so on and so forth, and I just place it over top of the jar, like so, covering the whole jar, centering it. Okay, the next thing I do is take a rubber band, put it on top, same with the other one. Take a rubber band, put it on top, and voila. Leave it in a warm place for a few days, tasting it every so often. I've never tasted it once. I just grab it at the end and away it goes. Depending on how sweet or sour you like kombucha, it will be ready as early as 7 days. It can take as long as 2 to 3 weeks. It depends how warm your brewing area is. You can make kombucha faster in the summer. It takes longer in the winter time if your house is cooler. One trick in the winter is get a reptile mat, which can be purchased at any pet store. You just plug it in on a gallon, set it on a gallon jar. What I ended up buying was a reptile It's not a pad, but it's actually a heater. So this is supposed to be for putting under a, this is the heater portion, and that's all it is. And I just wrap it around the jar on the inside. I get them both. So all I do, again, would be to wrap it around underneath that, tie it off. So there's a bit of heat to it, and leave it plugged in. And I let my kombucha sit for 30 days, exactly 1 month. There's another whole page here. What to do, what not to do. And then of course I pour my kombucha into mason jars like so, and just seal them. I just put the jars through the dishwasher so they're nice and hot and sterilized. And I keep the extra jars with the kombucha that's brewing. I don't, you should, it says here to refrigerate, but I don't even refrigerate it. No need to. It's fine without it. What not to do. Avoid contact with metal utensils or containers during or after fermentation. This applies to both the SCOBY and the fermented tea. So you want to use a wooden spoon when you're stirring, not metal utensils. If you want to take a break from making kombucha, you can leave your starter culture in a gallon jar just covered with kombucha and a dish towel. It will stay alive for many weeks or months with very little attention. You can always pour a little store-bought kombucha in there if you want to make sure it stays alive. Or brew a few cups of tea and add sugar and throw it in if you're too busy to make a batch of kombucha and you're nervous about killing your starter. Never store the SCOBY in the fridge, which is what I just did, but whatever. It's pretty resilient stuff. It's pretty tough to kill. Refrigeration will alter the balance of the yeast and bacteria, while the result may not be harmful, may reduce the old benefits of the tea. But the mature tea you can pour off and be kept in the fridge. Never store a SCOBY for a long period of time in a container. To maintain correct balance of yeast and bacteria, air has to reach SCOBY. There are times you need to store the SCOBY in closed containers, such as when you ship it to someone. A few days should be fine, but try and keep time to a minimum. After tea, kombucha tea can have a diuretic effect, so be careful with drinking it too close to bedtime. Also, begin drinking small amounts daily, as people find they get headaches until their bodies are used to it, which I did. I got headaches, severe headaches for 2 weeks. I was taking Advil every day. Never add fruit juice, herbs, spices, or any other ingredients to your kombucha while it's still brewing. Doing so could disrupt the fermentation and alter the SCOBY. It is fine to add things later though. Once you've poured off the kombucha, remove the SCOBY. It's called second fermenting. This is done by adding flavors, berries, ginger, etc. to avoid bottles. I can give you a copy of this too, so don't worry about it, but just reading it out. Never use Earl Grey tea or any tea that has essential oils added to it. The volatile oils in the essential oils can kill some of the bacteria and yeast in the SCOBY. If your SCOBY develops mold on it, usually appears black or blue or white furry specks, throw it out immediately, as well as the entire batch. Watch and sterilize the container thoroughly before brewing another batch. It's quite uncommon, but occasionally people have reported mold developing. Your SCOBY may however develop what appears to be dark patches if you look underneath and find dark particles accumulating, and common maybe just natural colors in the tea. Staining the organisms in the SCOBY as they are developing. I don't know what that meant, but when the SCOBY turns very dark, it is spent and should be discarded. So you're looking at a nice color like this. That's basically what it ends up looking like. I can drink 2 quarts of that a day on a day where I'm outside working or doing a move, and great stuff. So there's the video, and